So, this morning I have a beautiful message from Jesus about how he desires love from us, heart to heart. So, here goes. My children, more than anything, more than all your prayers and charitable deeds, I desire to spend time with you in a heart to heart conversation of love. Imagine a couple who are greatly in love going out for dinner. Imagine the conversations as they gaze into each other's eyes tenderly and softly. Imagine them holding hands and sharing vulnerably from their hearts with love and honesty. This is how I desire you, my children, to be with me in prayer. Yet instead, so many of you talk to me in the same way that an old married couple who have been together for 40 years and who have fallen out of love. Imagine the dull and dreary conversation as they spend time together over dinner. Imagine the lack of love or interest. Oh, my children, how I thirst for the true and authentic heart-to-heart with me, your God. Do not bore me with endless prayers while not sharing your hearts and emotions with me. Prayer from the heart, my children, is the prayer I thirst for the most. Open wide your hearts and share everything so that we can fall in love once again, and so I can fill your hearts with the spontaneous love and joy of your youth. Well, what a fantastic message in a way. I think the only way we can understand this message is if we have experienced Jesus' love. Now, I know some people who, for whatever reason, have never had a powerful experience of God's love. And as a result, they talk about God in quite an abstract way. And when they talk about him, a bit like what he says here, they're like an old married couple who have been together for 40 years and who've fallen out of love. In other words, it's factual, it's dry, they don't smile, there's no enthusiasm, there's no great joy, and yet they've got great faith. But one can have great faith without having great love, if you know what I mean. And yet Jesus is saying that he desires our relationship with him to be like a young couple who are greatly in love and they're going out for dinner. And they're excited to get to know each other. They're looking into each other's eyes. They're smiling. They may feel a bit awkward. They're being vulnerable. They're sharing this for the first time. They're sharing that for the first time. They're wondering, will they get married? Their future plans together. So the excitement, the plan. And see, Jesus is saying that that is how he is. And that is how he would like our relationship with him to be all the time. And that to stay in love with him. And if you think about it, Jesus is infinite goodness, but also infinite in knowledge, infinite in power, infinite in everything. So there's no reason why we can't have a new conversation with Jesus every day and learn something new and experience his love and his enthusiasm and his joy and his creativity and his mesmerizing love all over again every single day. Because he doesn't get old, if you like. And it's like if you stare into the fireplace and look at the fire, that flame is burning. There's something mystical and magical about the burning flame. It's the same thing with God's love. And so Jesus is saying that more than our prayers, now he's not saying that he doesn't want our prayers, just be careful, but he's saying more than endless prayers. Maybe I know lots of people as well, and they pray lots of rosaries and they go to lots of masses and all these things. But Jesus is saying that more than all of that, he desires our hearts. More than our prayers, more than our novenas, more than our litanies, more than our masses, more than our pilgrimages, more than our giving money to the poor, more than all of those things. Jesus thirsts for our hearts. He thirsts for us to be open. He thirsts for us to be vulnerable. And I suppose if someone hasn't already experienced the love of Jesus, they probably find that quite awkward because they maybe don't realize how vulnerable Jesus is, how light the love of Jesus is, how even emotional the love of Jesus is. People who have experienced the Holy Spirit have experienced this electric-like tingling all over their bodies. They want to smile, they want to jump, they want to clap their hands, they want to run around the place. It affects our human emotions. It's enormous, it's crazy, it's intimate. And people who haven't experienced that, well then for them, God is a bit like someone in an encyclopedia or a book. He's to be studied and he's very interesting and very factual and can be loved in an intellectual type of a way, but often in an emotionalist way. And see, Jesus wants to enter into our hearts where all these emotions are and feelings are. And he wants basically for us to fall in love with him, and to fall in love with him with our minds, our hearts, our souls, our bodies, absolutely everything. And so that's why Jesus says, how I thirst for the true, authentic heart-to-heart with me, your God. And so he finally says then, pray from the heart, because this is the prayer I thirst for the most. Open wide your hearts and share everything, so that we can fall in love once again, and so that I can fill your hearts with the spontaneous love and joy of your youth. So Jesus is inviting us to sharing everything, to sharing everything about our lives, our emotions, our desires, our dreams, our intimacy, everything about things like sexuality, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, our husbands, our wives, our temptations, or whatever. Jesus is inviting us to sharing everything, because it's in the sharing, even if it's our frustrations and our anger, to share that as well. Because it's in the sharing and the dialoguing and the talking and the questioning, that is where we grow. And Jesus, he wants us to be fully alive and fully holy. And holy means whole in our mind, body, spirit. And he wants us to be enraptured with his love. But the only way we can do that basically is if we are real with Jesus. And so, in a way, today's message, even though it's very simple, it's also very, very hard in a way, because Jesus is asking us for something very raw and very intimate, and it needs time. You know, any of us know that you can't just switch on your heart and fall in love with someone. You have to spend time, emotion, affection. And that's why when I see sometimes ladies or men coming into the church and they've got a bunch of flowers for Our Lady or for Jesus, I often think how much that must please Jesus. Now, some people might look at them and think they're silly giving flowers to an old statue, but they're not giving flowers to a statue. They've actually gone out there, they've bought those flowers, and they're giving those flowers to Jesus and those flowers to Our Lady. And so that's the type of love and the type of intimacy and the type of joy that Jesus desperately thirsts and wants us to have. And he wants us then to be able to go out and to be able to smile and laugh and joke and dance with this inebriating love, this life-giving, creative, exuberant love that he gives us, that we can then share to other people. And yes, the only way we can do that is by emptying our hearts and allowing him to fill our hearts. And that is a gradual process. I've always said it's like learning a language. It's a gradual process. It's a daily process. But it's the journey we have to go on, because it's what he wants the most. And it's an invitation. It's not an order. He's not criticizing. It's an invitation. Imagine Jesus there, who is God, and he's saying, I want to fill you with love, with joy, with creativity, with smiling, with dancing, with laughing. I want to excel your life and show you things about me and show you things about yourself that you've never even known. So that's the invitation, and I just want you to put other stuff aside, however good it might be, however important it might be, put it aside so that I can enter into your heart and I can transform your heart. And from that place you will be so alive with my love that other people will see the love in your heart, and they too will come to believe. So on that note, let us continue to pray to Jesus. Let us continue to open our hearts and ask him to fill us from the inside out with that ecstatic love. And if we've never experienced it, let's continue to ask him to have that experience. And we can do that as well by going along to charismatic type prayer meetings, asking for prayer, asking priests or people gifted in the Holy Spirit to pray over us, and basically making ourselves available to all the ways the Holy Spirit works. So on that note, goodbye, God bless, and let's give Jesus our hearts.